Hey guys, it's Sam here and welcome back to this week's review, where we review this weekend's games and maybe some others from around the world as well. We're going to jump straight into it, and of course there is no place other than to start with the Mersyside derby. Liverpool continue our 100% record start to the season with a 2-1 win at home to Everton in the derby. We were able, for the first time this season, after going 2-0 up, to avoid throwing it away. We nearly did, but we didn't. So, progress? Maybe. We might be getting there. Yeah. Something that has eluded us, really, this season is the somehow inability to keep 2-0 leads. Every time we have gone up 2-0 this season, we have thrown it away. Yes, we have then gone on to score a late winner, but you can't be doing that. And fortunately, the lads were able to see it through and win by 2-1. Yes, it's again a game that never should have been that close. It should have been a game that should have been killed off way before they even got back into the game and got their goal. But again, it is what it is, and we were still able to see it through. And yeah, we are, after this weekend's games, 5 points clear at the top. Very good. Things are looking grand. 15 points from a possible 15. 5 from 5 in the league. And yeah, things are clicking. We are getting there. And yeah, there's not really much else to say. We've started very, very well. Move on. Brighton and Tottenham played out a 2-2 draw. Brighton will probably be a bit disappointed after being 2-0 up, but of course conceding just before half time, as we found out in midweek against Atletico Madrid. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to. It's never a good time to concede right before half time. And yeah, they'll probably be very disappointed with that. But on the stats, they probably are going to be disappointed because they did have more chances. Yes, Tottenham had more possession, Brighton had the more chances, and they had just slightly higher XG than Tottenham, in a 1.28 to Tottenham's 1.22. So they'll probably be disappointed that they couldn't see that through. But in the end, I think if you would have said to Brighton fans that you would draw the game before kick-off, they probably would take it. Moving on, Burnley and Forest played out a 1-1. Forest took an early lead inside 2 minutes, but then Anthony scored in the 20th minute to equalise. And after that, I mean, for the majority of this game, it was all Forest. They dominated possession. They had a quite significant XG in 1.21 to Burnley's 0.85. But I think, yeah, 3 games into Ange's reign, and it's 2 defeats and 1 draw, where when you looked at the fixtures, you would have expected it. Alright, you would expect to lose away to Arsenal. But to lose away to Swansea, a Championship team in the Cup, especially after being 2-0 up, that can't happen. And then drawing to Burnley, yes, it's away, but you'd expect to be making maximum points from that. The one thing I will say is moving backwards into that Swansea game, that is all on the players. I don't put any blame necessarily, or I don't know how anyone can put blame on Ange on that. Yes, maybe he made changes too early and it disrupted the rhythm. They had no rhythm. So Forest were very fortunate to be 2-0 up in that game. They were very fortunate. They were fortunate to be 1-0 up at half time. Throughout that entire game, they were giving the ball away. They couldn't deal with Swansea's press. And every time they were giving the ball away, Swansea didn't necessarily create too many chances, but there were signs there that if they didn't fix the issue and they didn't stop giving the ball away, they were going to concede. They continued to give the ball away in the second half. They conceded the first. That should have been the warning sign there. You've conceded one, you see it through. But the players couldn't do that. They give the ball... They keep playing like shit. They concede a second, and then the third was always going to come. It would have been a miracle if I'd somehow made it to penalties. Because it was all Swansea from them. And, like I said, I don't put any blame on Ange in that. I think that's solely on the players. As players, you have to simply do better. It doesn't matter what tactical system you're in, what formation you're playing, who the manager is. It's not that difficult to keep possession, especially against a championship team. Yes, you're away, but you're playing a championship team. You're a Premier League team, and you're 2-0 up. You keep possession. You quiet the crowd down. You quiet the players. Like, you don't get them excited into thinking they've actually got a chance. And you see that through. I don't know how they've managed to mess it up that badly. But into the Burnley one, I'm not sure. Again, like the Swansea game, they had chances to kill the game off. They didn't take them. And again, that's not an Ange problem. That's not a management issue. That is a player issue. If you can't put the ball in the net, the manager can't do anything about it. He can't go on the pitch and teach them. He can't do it himself. The players should know where the net is. They should know how to put the ball in the net. They can't do that. That's on them. Like, sorry. That's how I view it anyway. But moving on. West Ham continue their devastating start with a 2-1 defeat to Palace. It's not looking good. It is not looking good for Graham Potter. It's not looking good for West Ham. I do not know how any of the board at West Ham can view this as anything other than a fucking disaster. Yeah, they're after 5 games, they've got 3 points. That 3 points was a win against Forest, 3-0, in which Forest just capitulated in the last 10 minutes and allowed West Ham to score 3. Somehow, I don't know how, but yeah, no. He was already out the door, it seemed like, at that point, and maybe the players knew that and just didn't care. I don't know, but yeah, it's not looking good at all. The only saving grace is it is the start of the season, and Brentford are only just a point. Brentford and Burnley are only just a point above the relegation zones. So West Ham still are very close to safety, but if it continues like this, they might not be. Yeah, I don't know what else to say in that. It's just a Horrible, horrible start for West Ham. Wolves' start also continues to be miserable with a 3-1 defeat to Leeds. Now, you'd expect a seasoned Premier League team like Wolves to be fairly comfortable at home to a newly promoted side. Losing 3-1, that's not comfortable. Like, that's an horrendous result. And especially after going 1-0 up as well in the 8th minute. Like, that's not... I just don't know how they could possibly have thrown that away. They threw it away in the first half. All 4 of the goals came in the first half. I don't know how they managed to throw that away. Like, it's... I don't know. Then you get into the tasty affair between Man United and Chelsea, in which Amorim finally has a win in the league against an opposition that is quite tricky in Chelsea, and he's got it. It's come in a very, very, very tasty effect, considering that inside the 5th minute, the Chelsea keeper Robert Sanchez gets sent off. Now, it's a red. I was at work at the time, but we had it on, obviously, as I work in a bar. So, a bar? I'm not fucking American. A pub! Jesus Christ. Shush. I don't want to hear it. Anyway, yeah, it was definitely a red. I don't know why he's... It doesn't even have to come out. Like, he's misjudged it completely, and he's just taken the full man, got none of the ball, and yeah, it was a definite red. And he fucked his team from there, because Chelsea can't get any rhythm at that point. You get a red so early in a game, you're not getting any rhythm there whatsoever. United go 2-0 up, and then the second goal scorer in Casemiro gets a second yellow and a red right before half time. So the second half was played with 10 v 10, and Chelsea did get a goal back in the 80th minute. They couldn't find the equaliser, and it finishes 2-1 to United, and in what probably was a deserved win for Man United. Fulham then went on to beat Brentford in the later 8 PM kickoff on Saturday. Yeah, disappointing for Brentford, but again, Fulham is not an easy place to go, and yeah, they looked fairly comfortable in that game. Moving into yesterday's games, and it all ended in draws. Bournemouth and Newcastle played out a bore 0-0. I didn't watch it, I was watching the Sunderland Villa game, so I haven't got a clue what happened, but looking at the stats, it was very bore. A 0.56 XG to Bournemouth and a 0.14 for Newcastle, which is not very good. 2 shots on target to Newcastle's 1, 3 off target to Newcastle's 2, and Bournemouth just lost possession. And I saw that the first shot on target in the entire second half came in the 90th minute. A horrible, horrible game. What a waste of God knows how much, because Premier League tickets are ridiculous, probably even for Bournemouth. And yeah, God knows, you're never getting that money back. Sunderland and Villa played out a 1-1 draw. Sunderland had a man sent off inside the first half for kicking out. It was a red. You can't kick out. Like, I don't care if he's annoyed that he's been caught late. It was caught late, but you can't kick out. You just can't kick out, and he's done that, and so it's a red. Yeah, he messed up big time there. But yeah, it ended in a 1-1 draw. and then so did Arsenal and City, ending a 1-1 draw, with Martinelli scoring a 90+3 minute equaliser, in which, like I said earlier, means that Liverpool are 5 points clear after 5 games, and in 2 of Arsenal's title contending fixtures, they've lost to Liverpool and drawn with City. I'm not too sure that you can be happy with that if you're an Arsenal fan. It is a bizarre... It would be bizarre to not pick up points, or at least not pick up maximum points against your nearest rivals for a league title and go on to win it. They're already 5 points behind. They've already lost one and drawn the other in their title contending games. It's very early in the season. I hate calling them that, but it's what everyone does. But I would not be too happy if this was the other way around. If this was Liverpool and we had lost to Arsenal and we had City fairly soon after and had drawn that game, even if we'd scored a 93rd minute equaliser, we would not be happy, because we would know we're already behind in the race. We're already not producing enough in games to win the title. Yes, we're 5 games into a 38 game season, but every point matters, so it's good that they do have that point and they've not lost again. But when you're already 5 points clear, they were already 6 points behind before this game, so they knew in order to stay within reach they had to win. They haven't done that. They've drawn. Yes, it'll feel like a win because you've snatched it late on, but it's still not good enough. And again, there is only one person to blame for that, and that's Arteta. Again, as we have all said, Arsenal will not win a league title with Arteta in charge. Not possible. You don't win leagues with the way that he plays. He sets his team up way too defensively. He focuses way more on defence than attack, and you can't win titles like that. Maybe in other leagues you can, and maybe, just maybe, a few years ago it might have been possible. No, because even when Leicester won it, they weren't focused on defence as much. Like, they were very attacking in that team. Yes, they would maybe defend very, very well and focus more on defending when they went 1-0 up, but if it was 0-0 or if it was level, they would go for the win. And that's how they won the title. You can't win it by being so far back, and you can't win it by solely focusing on defence. It doesn't work. And I've never rated him as a manager. I've never rated him as a manager, and I never will. I don't care if he goes on to win the Premier League, if by some miracle Arsenal win the Premier League this season, which I don't think they will. But if they did, I still wouldn't rate him as a manager. Because, I mean, I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see anything in that man that inspires anyone. I don't know how he can inspire anyone. When you look at him on a touchline or the way that he plays, That doesn't inspire me. And I'm fucking glad I'm not an Arsenal fan. Because that would be horrible. To have a manager like that just... When you're supposed to be one of the best teams in the Premier League and the best teams in Europe, apparently according to Arteta, which said that, you know, he made some bullshit claims that Luis Enrique even said to him that they were the best team in Europe. Then he came out and said, no, I did not say that. He's chatting shit, as per usual, as we already knew. But apparently, Arsenal were the best team in Europe last season. Well, why didn't you win it then? Because usually if you're the best team in Europe, you usually win it. So why didn't you win it? It wasn't just because of Donnarumma, it's because you weren't the best team in Europe. The best team in Europe were PSG, and they showed it by winning. Like, it's not that difficult. It's not hard to comprehend that, Mikel. It really isn't. But, yeah, I could be here for hours ranting about Mikel Arteta because I absolutely hate him. And I don't rate him. I think he's just a whiny... He's just a whiny prick. He is. And everyone called out Jurgen Klopp for being centimetres out of his touchline. This man spends 90% of the game out of his technical area. There's a technical area for a reason. You're supposed to stay in it, yet he spends 90% of the game out of it, yet no one says anything. And the referees don't say anything either. So, I don't know how he gets away with it. But he does. And I give up. I give up. But anyway, let's move on from the whiny Mikel. And we'll go to Friday, where Middlesbrough beat West Brom in the Championship to keep their great start to the season going. They are 16 points from 6 games. In one of the other episodes of this, I accidentally called Rob Edwards Rob Page. Rob Edwards is the Middlesbrough manager, the former Luton boss. Rob Page is the current Liverpool under-21s manager and the former Wales boss. So I do apologise for that. Yeah. My bad. Rob Edwards is the Middlesbrough boss and he's doing very, very well. So, great start for Middlesbrough to the season. Into the Saturday's games, Leicester had a struggle at home to Coventry in a 0-0 draw. That does put Leicester 4th with 11 points after 6 games. But with that, they are 5 points off the top. But they're only 1 point off Stoke in second, so an automatic promotion is still looking possible. It's not fully out of reach yet, but they're struggling. They are struggling. Southampton lost 3-1 away to Hull. That's not great at all for Will Still. That ain't fun. But I believe Wrexham won their first game in the second tier of English football for a very long time after beating Norwich 3-2. I think that was their first win. That bumps them up to 15th, 7 points from 6 games. I think we all knew it was going to be tricky for them. They've had a very fast rise to the second tier in back-to-back promotions. I think it was always going to be a little bit of a struggle. They were always going to have to need to spend quite a lot to compete in the Championship, and they have a lot of new players that they have to bed in, and it looks like things might start to click now. They've got their first win under the belt, and they can go on now and push for even more. But I'm going to leave it at that. Again, I don't want these to be too long, but yeah, I'll end it with Marcus Rashford seems to be doing fairly well at Barcelona, and that is where we'll leave that with the rest of the world. At least we've touched on Spain. Barcelona won, and Marcus Rashford seems to be doing quite well, which is hilarious because, again, I hate Man United, and it just shows that Man United destroy careers, as they're showing as well. Not just player careers, but manager careers. We'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.